No, this is not Europe, but Hobart, where for the first time in years, drivers competing in the Australian Rally Super Series would face snow and ice. The snow, as well as a trip across Bass Strait, make this a unique event in Australian rallying. Great effort was made by race organisers to clear the road for the reconnaissance the day before the Saxon Safari, allowing crews to drive over the course in road cars at normal speed. For many it was the first time they'd driven in snow, and for two young drivers from Western Australia it was the first time they'd ever seen the white stuff.
No, that was actually my first time I'd seen it. It's the first time I'd driven on it. Yeah, it's quite an experience, really.
I've never even seen snow, let alone drive on it. So this weekend's going to be very interesting from that point of view. Saw and drove on it in reconnaissance yesterday for the very first time. So as far as attacking 100% in a rally car, I have no idea what to expect.
The snow and ice would prove a challenge even for the leading drivers.
I think we'll all find it very, very, very tough. You know, it's going to be one of those rallies that you'll either creep along and be slow, or you'll attack and take the risk of going off, you know, and I think the majority of the field, they rally to attack, so it'll be probably a gung-ho approach by everybody.
With so much snow and ice, many teams also chose to test their rally cars. It can't be said that the sponsor's product doesn't come in handy at the Saxon Safari. The three challengers for this year's title, Possum Bourne, Neil Bates and Ed Ordinsky, all took the opportunity to reacquaint themselves and talk about the challenge ahead. The morning of Heat 1 brought cold but clear conditions. The big talking point was tyres. Was there still snow on the course, which would mean a softer tyre, or had the snow gone away, making a harder tyre necessary? The choice critical.
It definitely makes the tyre choice difficult, and realistically you can only go with your instincts and hope that you've got the right tyre on. The problem was the Group A machines all had plenty of power, maybe too much in conditions that required a cautious approach.
The engine comes on bang like that, and then there's no real mucking around waiting for anything to happen, so you've got to be really awake with it. It can bite you real quick.
After running a production class Mitsubishi Lancer in the first two rounds of the Super Series, Ed Ordinsky was still settling into his Group A Rally Art machine.
I think it would be naive to say I'm the same as Possum and Neil, who have had several years in their cars. I've had one rally in this car. But the Lancer is really well set up by Rally Art from their experience. The Yokohama tyres on it are well suited to the car, designed for it, so I've got everything in my favour.
The production class has turned into a great battle between the defending champion Michael Guest in a Mitsubishi Lancer and the Subaru Impreza of Greg Graham.
You've got to get points wherever you can, and it's extremely important for us to win here because we dropped around in Queensland when we had a problem.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's what we're rallying about. Be nice and close and swap stage times. It's really good.
The smaller Formula 2 classes proved a big success in 1997. 5 competitive manufacturers have made for a close championship and plenty of action.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lottery out there. I think it's going to be whoever has the luckiest brakes. But no, I think this snow will definitely be an equaliser. I think it's just going to be you have to take every corner as it comes, and whoever ends out and has a good drive today will end up on top.
To start the Saxon Safari, a super special stage next to the Derwin Entertainment Centre. No snow here. Possum Bourne in his Subaru Impreza and the Toyota Celica of Neil Bates tied with a time of 59 seconds. Ordinsky a second behind.
The car feels good. Traction wasn't bad, so hopefully it'll be like that up there, but I'm just concerned about the snow and getting offline in the snow and that, so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes.
Ahead, another 5 stages. Patchy snow on Special Stage 2 Leesons meant drivers had to take a cautious approach. Even then, the surface was treacherous.
Crest along 4-5 left tightens to turn 3-4 left opens 80.
The conditions meant drivers' skills were the key element. Possum Bourne won the stage by 2 seconds from Neil Bates, Ordinsky a further 10 seconds back. For only the second time this year, Ordinsky had teamed with veteran co-driver Fred Gosantis, the combination still being worked out during the event.
Yeah, not so like a robot, please, Freddie.
Okay. 50. 9 left crest.
Greg Graham took 2 heats at Coffs Harbour, but the Saxon Safari started poorly for the Subaru Impreza driver. A puncture on stage 3 losing him and co-driver Glenn McNeil 5 minutes.
Yes. Yep, 300 to easy right. Find somewhere flat to change it. 300. Easy right, kick it.
No, just here.
Okay.
It was only a K from the start, and we're going along, and it just started to feel loose, and I thought, you know, maybe it was the corner, but it got worse and worse and worse, and there was a flat tyre in the end. I don't understand. We haven't hit anything, been in the middle of the road, like, I don't understand why it's gone down.
It was a welcome sign for Michael Guest, who'd experienced the same problem at Coffs Harbour. The Mitsubishi Lancer driver now led David West, who was running strongly in the production class despite damaging the front of his car at a spectator point.
It was just really fast, and I turned in, the car turned in really well, and there's just a bit of a cut-off, and we just banged up the bank, that was all. Just one of those unfortunate things.
Drivers in the front-wheel drive Formula 2 class were finding the conditions a handful. Simon Evans was making the most of his opportunities in the ever-improving Toyota Corolla, and local knowledge was also proving an advantage.
And stop.
Whoa, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's great.
The Saxon Safari has some of the longest stages in the Australian Rally Super Series. At 33 kilometres, the Styx River Road is the longest in the event. It would also prove a pivotal moment in not only this event, but indeed the series. Fighting for outright leadership, Neil Bates miscalculated a corner and hit a pole.
Bend right 6. Oops. A bit tight there, buddy.
Yep.
Into long left 6.
Done heaps of damage.
The terminal damage to his steering rack could be seen by the angle on the Toyota Celica's steering wheel. Just a kilometre down the road, they spun.
The steering rack is actually cracked, so this could well be our last stage for the event. We don't actually have a spare, and we can't fix it, so we just went through there and took it reasonably easy.
In the lead, Possum Bourne also had a moment. A succession of quick bends almost brought his rally unstuck.
Right, 4, 5 left, and careful.
It was pretty slippery in there, and I got out of hand. It got out of hand on me on a bunch of corners like this.
But the ever-smooth Ed Ordinsky was having dramas.
I had a puncture rear left.
Styx also claimed the Sydney pairing of Martin Lintott and Steve O'Brien-Pound, their production class Lancer crashing deep into a gully.
Basically, the notes came out well, and Martin had been driving all the corners very, very well leading up to that. It was pretty big, yeah, pretty big.
The fastest privateer in round 3 at Coffs Harbour, Graham Wise, started the Saxon Safari rally slowly, losing the opening stage by 3 seconds to Graham Alexander. But on the slippery surface, Wise revelled, claiming 5 successive stage victories to beat Alexander by a minute and win the privateers section in Heat 1.
Funny how things work out. Coffs Harbour, it was our turn to have the problems, and this time Greg's had a punch that's made our day a hell of a lot easier, and yeah, back in the lead in the championship, which is good.
In Formula 2, high speeds were breeding unreliability. Ross McKenzie broke a fuel line and had a fire.
About 8k from the end we smelt fuel, and when we pulled into control the car caught on fire. It's broken the main fuel line again.
And Brett Middleton suffered transmission problems straight after finishing the final stage of the day.
Part of the fork has actually broken off the side, so when I went and changed gears, it actually broke at the same time and left the gear selector in neutral.
Despite an engine misfire, Dean Herridge took out Heat 1, 30 seconds ahead of Simon Evans with Lee Peterson third.
And even though we're having these problems, we're nipping at their heels, and I thought that if we could get everything together, when things were running well, like in Styx, it was going really, really great. So we were sort of hoping that even at the end of the day, that we might be there somewhere.
Possum Bourne made it 5 straight heat wins in this year's Super Series, the Subaru driver beating Ed Ordinsky by 50 seconds, with Bates a further minute behind.
The conditions the way they were, it was time to use the head and just really feed yourself in, get a hang of it and go for it. To me, the other two guys had the pressure on them, they had to win.
With the breakdown rate high, 10 drivers would not start day 2, among them Bates and Taylor. Day 2 once again brought cold and clear conditions, but Greg Graham's Subaru was steaming.
I just found a split in the return hose from the turbo, so it was leaking water. The split got quite bad and we had to fix it ourselves, and being a non-mechanic type, it took a little bit longer than what it should have.
20, fast right, easy left, maybe, no brakes. Oh, excellent. 60 short, K right, nothing at all. Drive really, been driving up.
He was passed in the stage by Graham Alexander and could see his production class hopes slipping away to rival Michael Guest. No such drama for Possum Bourne. Let's sit back and watch the spectacular action from the Saxon Safari Rally.
Been wetter and slipperier, and I don't mind those conditions, and it's reached the horsepower gap a bit.
Chris into turn right 3.
Yeehaw! Go back. Right 7 short over crest and Salou. Safe intersection.
That's so much fun down there.
That was
The thing is we're all here to enjoy ourselves. At the end of the day, it's nice to win, but the most important thing is enjoy what we're spending all our money on.
We'll retire today. Broken fuel line has cost us 10 minutes, and it puts us way out of F2 points. We've got to drop around, so it's best 4 out of 5 scores for the championship, and we're not going to score enough to better our worst round previous.
Just blew an O-ring on the oil feed supply for the hydraulics out of the pump for some particular reason, we're not sure, so the guys had to put a new fitting in there with the new O-rings, and it seems to be fine now.
Six left off camber, no worries. That's gone. See that? Yep. And 6 left off camber.
I'm nursing it through. Actually, you'll see the damage now on that strap top. I hit a big rock in the long one and punched the suspension up onto the bonnet.
He had a sort of a migraine problem in the morning, and he just was sick in the car and started blanking out, so we went through first thing in the morning.
We obviously made the wrong tyre choice there, but with no servicing in between, we had to take a punt.
After the Forest, Bourne was in front, but Simon Evans and Jason Slott put on a real performance at the Derwent Entertainment Centre.
Front dug in and over we went. Can't believe that in the middle of the road. If I went off, I could say, yeah, my fault. It's my fault anyway.
That is not a good one. Okay. Everybody stand back, please, and make the officials will go. Officials got only over there, please. They want to finish this one. They're going to do better than Simon Evans and Joe Wick. They're actually going to drive it across the line.
Brett Middleton took Formula 2 honours.
We took a punt yesterday, made a bad tyre choice. Today we took a punt and it paid off, and in unfortunately Dean's case it worked out.
Michael Guest was the leading production class car.
It's been a good result for us here. We needed it, especially after the last one.
And Possum Bourne continued his dominance of the season.
To be a good rally driver, you have to cope with all the conditions that are thrown at you. You have to cope. And so far we've had 3 totally different events, and I presume Melbourne will be different again, and that's the way it should be.
After 3 straight wins, Bourne moves to the top of the championship table. Ordinsky is second, with Bates back in third place.